All right, everybody, this is Igor in Russia, the one and only, YouTube's favorite Igor. And in this video, I'm gonna be talking about why I think I would want to move to Russia. The main reasons I wanna move to Russia. And as also in this video, guys, we are going to see Mother Russia. Stay tuned and let's go. All right, guys, so in this video, as you can see, people are very interested in what I'm doing. I'm gonna be walking and talking about interesting topic that I've been wanting to discuss for a long time, and that is why I think moving to Russia, at least for me, as a Westerner, is a great idea. This is the east of the city, guys. Of course, moving to Russia, guys, is something that it's been on YouTube for a long time, especially like I would say, especially like Americans, maybe Canadians, and usually the ones moving here are the ones with, well, very good reason, family reasons, you know, marriage, family, kids, wife, usually like that, and that's a very good reason, guys. I think that's a fair reason. And but I've been thinking about and I've been speaking about moving to Russia for a long time. For me, is just ideal place. Despite I was born in Soviet Union, lived all my life in Finland, and I would definitely want to live in Russia. But there's also minuses. It all depends, guys, what's important to you. And that's what we're gonna be talking while we walking. So as you know, on my channel, guys, I've been speaking about that I fell in love with Russia for the first time in 2016. That was when I arrived to St. Petersburg and realized that this place had something special for me, and it was spiritual. It was mainly spiritual back then, and of course visual. And when I arrived to St. Petersburg, there was something special. And after that, that calling was constant. I traveled to St. Petersburg and got to know more about Russian cities, about people. So I felt that it can be all bad the way the Western media and people think it is, and actually those people who write about stuff never have properly been to Russia, you know, or it's very, very political, you know. So I thought I'm gonna find out more and more. I didn't have any plans, I just wanted to be here. I had no plans about moving, and I still haven't moved here, but now it's like 100% that I feel I'm a Petersburgian, even though technically I'm not. I have to travel here as a foreigner. Visiting many times, I realized, first of all, the way of life, on the contrast to the Scandinavian style. First of all, everything is open. Services are open constantly till night. It's like capitalism in its essence, meaning real rough competition. If you're not open, somebody else is. You as a customer can always express your feelings. You don't need to be like, you know, I'm sorry, can I return this? You can demand. People expect you to demand things. Sure, the customer service can be as rough back to you, but you can stand your ground. It's the way of life. Services are provided everywhere. I like the way that the city is built. There's a lot of people. This is not a dead city. And just because you know, the lifestyle is such a way as well. It's not only about the volumes of people, meaning that if you have a lot of people, there's the services. Well, not necessarily. And I can tell you that it's not like that in Scandinavia. People don't expect places to be open, or they open like in a random times. I like it that in every neighborhood there is a different kind of services. You don't need to leave the neighborhood because you have everything there, you know. And one thing that I love, by the way, is these neighborhoods themselves, courtyards. They are Soviet, and I have a Soviet background, right? So you know that that I have also like a bit of nostalgia, but this video is based around my feelings. So I do love these Brezhnevka, Khrushchevka era buildings, even though I never lived in one. Yeah, I never lived in one, but it's in me, guys. And these are really nice little areas, right? And this is far from the town, from the center. This is like really far, maybe 15 kilometers, I don't know, but this is very inside St. Petersburg still. As I was saying, I love the fact that services are everywhere, even on the outskirts of the city. Sure, in a big city, but more or less you can see that as well in the minor cities like Vyborg or other places. You know, you go around St. Petersburg area to the minor places, you'll see still that everything is provided. The other thing is, as I mentioned, the way of life. So people are very active. People are very active, and I love the atmosphere in Russian neighborhoods, areas, city life in general. There are quiet places, as you can see here, but almost even at nighttime you can hear somebody's having a party, somebody's having a, you know, an argument per se, and you can sense it inside your building if you open your window, guys. That's what it's amazing. Atmosphere is for me important. Another thing, of course, you can see a lot of different cultures inside Russian culture. You can see especially people from Caucasus, that people are speaking Russian but also speak their own language, their own characters, you know, typical characters based on different places where they come from. There are certain stereotypes, and in a good way. But also the same thing goes vice versa. There's also minuses about that, because there's more people and more action, so there's more risks. But at the same time, I gotta counter myself. At the same time, Russian cities are way safer than the ones, for example, I've been to in Scandinavia. And let me explain. Smaller cities, in a smaller city that I come from, Finland, for example, or other European countries, you see drunks, drug addicts, some crazy people, dangerous people, weird people. They just roaming around the center, the place where there's people, there's also them, and they ruin the areas. And for some reason, for some liberal reason, nobody does anything to change that. You see, different cultures everywhere. So in here, there's much more. For example, St. Petersburg, there's like way more people, but way less of these situations that I just mentioned to you guys. So what does it say? What does it mean? Russia in general is way safer than any place, and that's what everybody says, coming from all around the world, like foreigners, expats. That's the message, and that's not propaganda message. That's the truth. And anybody who's been here will say that the same thing. You will do the same. You will, how clean it is, how everything is in order, and you are expected to be behaving well. You know, it's not okay for you to get drunk, and that's the reason for you to do whatever you feel like. No way. Law and order, guys. And sure, cleanliness is a thing also in Scandinavia, but not everywhere. When people, let's say after Friday, there's tons of trash, and in Russia, no, you're not expected. You see, because people, it's not okay to get absolutely hammered or, you know, wasted or just like very tipsy. You don't see that type of behaving in public. In central area, you just don't. Of course, really, you have to, even though there's much more people than in the, for example, Scandinavian cities. I'm talking about safety, the stuff that my subscribers tell me, the stuff I see online or news, riots. It doesn't happen here, and that's a good thing. I think it's a good thing. Some people talking about freedom of speech might start is it haggling right now? But I don't see or hear them heckling about the situations, for example, in UK, like a civil war going on, and the media is very quiet. If Russia had a city of 7 million people, St. Petersburg have some unlawful back then protest attempt with 500 people or even 1,000 people, which is nothing in St. Petersburg, 7 million city, people of 7 million. So they started to write. So, I'm comparing this information as a person who's been to both places. I've been here and I've been there. So I know what to compare this with. That's the point. And a lot of people who have strong opinions haven't been in Russia. They're basing their information on the stuff they read, which is not much, because it's a fact. There's a lot of fake information about Russia daily in the West. For some reason, I'm not gonna be talking about now. All right, we've covered culture. We've covered way of life, part of the culture. We talked about neighborhoods, the way of building, services. And of course, one thing that I have to mention again is the atmosphere. Atmosphere in the Russian cities, being in the cities with so many centuries, Russian Empire or older than Soviet times and the current Russia. It's like visually and very beautiful and energizing, interesting, entertaining to be in the cities like that. And many often, of course, they are just Soviet. Like there's lots of towns and cities which are just and only Soviet era cities. So most of the infrastructure is Soviet, and that's just fine as well. The people are nice. The countries, there's so much to see. That's what I also love about this. That no matter where you go, you have endless amounts of places to visit and see. If you, for example, you can be a lifetime in St. Petersburg. There's so much history and culture, and everything is interesting, or just entertainment. So you should be fine already alone here. But you can travel all around this area. 1 hour, half an hour away is tons of cities and towns, which are super interesting. Going to Moscow, oh my God, you just quadrupled your destination amount. And Russia goes on and on and on. It's such a beautiful country, and different regions, different cultures, different events and stuff. That's what I love. Okay, then another thing I gotta say, since it's a hot topic, the values. For example, for somebody it's like a super major topic. For me, it's like a standard topic. But sure, Russia has strong values, traditional values. But traditional values for me, Russian values, or Christian Orthodoxy, Orthodox Christianity, that's important things for me. And that's, you see churches everywhere. Religion, it's a religious country. Religion is part of every day in a way for many, in a way of people speak. Even those who are not maybe are atheists, they still say certain things that are Christian. And of course, then history, Russia respects its fallen heroes from the Great Patriotic War, the ones dating back to Napoleonic War and early on dating back to the battles of Swedes. But anyways, not talking about battles anymore, but just saying that history is respected, and that's important. That's important to me as well. And what about Igor? What about people who do not agree? Well, you can have your own opinions, but of course, if you speak about certain things about Great Patriotic War in a unpatriotic way, well, in any country you would get in trouble, I guess. That's the Piskaryovka Park on the side. And guys, we're gonna remember what I promised you guys. We're gonna talk about why I think Russia is a great place to move, why I would want to move to Russia. And if God gives me opportunity, I will, definitely. So guys, this is Piskaryovskaya Memorial Cemetery. This is the place where we're gonna see Mother Russia statue. And there she is, the statue of Mother Russia. One of the other reasons I think, of course, why Russia is a great place is that families are really appreciated. I think this is a great place to build families with some proper values. I think the government, if I understand, supports having kids in a good way. Minus part, of course, is because I promised to give you some minus parts as well. The minus part is, of course, that the salaries not necessarily always great in Russia. The living standards are good in big cities, but not necessarily in smaller cities. But if the salary is also different for men and female, usually it's a bit. There's a so-called women's jobs and men's jobs. So you can. I guess if I understand correctly, that's visible in the paycheck. But that's because man is supposed to, in the traditional way, bring food to the table, so to speak. So women is, if she wants, it's more okay for women to actually, be stay-at-home moms and focus on so-called, well, as a Western, I have to say so-called things, women, things for women. But there's also things to be done for men as well. It doesn't mean that this is, All right, I said too much. I wanna say thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel. Push like, and see you guys in the next episode as Igor in Russia returns. Bye bye, y'all.